It is, what do we got here? Wow, it's early. It's 7:47 on a Wednesday morning. It's time for Good Policies, brought to you by the Barrett Insurance Agency. 802-748-5224 or online at thebarrettagency.com.
Correct. So we're early, so does that mean I get to talk longer?
Yes, that's why I started early.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So we're going to take it right to 8 o'clock this morning. I'll introduce NBC News for you.
This half hour brought to you by
Barrett Insurance Agency. So you didn't say lovely, which I want to applaud because it's not lovely out there this morning. Don't get me wrong, it's not horrible, but it's not raining now. But boy, that rained for a while there.
When I got up this morning, it was a torrential downpour in East Burke.
Unbelievable. I mean, we need it. I mean, we have been a little rain deprived as of late. So
absolutely.
I'll take it,
so we've been talking about the different ways to enhance your insurance policies.
Yes.
And you have
as you like to call it, add-ons.
Well, that's what they are.
They are. Sure, I'll give you that.
Or we'll give it a better name. Plug-ins.
Plug and plays.
Yeah. Well, they're like apps. You know, they're like little things you can add on.
Little customizations, if you will.
So you said you got a good one this week.
Yeah, well, we talked about past couple of weeks about some of the amazing personal auto enhancements that you can get. So I thought I'd kind of go back to Homeowner for a minute or two. The ones I'm talking about this morning may not be specific to your company. Specifically, these are Cooperative Insurance of Middlebury, Vermont endorsements.
Which is a really cool insurance company.
I love them. I really do. They're a great company. By the way, if you get a letter about the merger, it's not a bad thing. It's three companies that are in the background, and call me and I'll tell you all about it. And it's not a change of anything going on.
Okay.
But so what we're talking about here is an endorsement available for incidental property coverages. So we're going to kind of talk about identity fraud, identity theft, and things of that nature, compromising of your credit. You look boggled.
But I just don't get how that applies to property or you know.
It is property to a point. I mean, it's your property. It's my credit card that's a piece of my property right there.
All right.
So incidental property coverages. This is an endorsement that's been available for a very long time, which is why I'm starting with this one. It is optional. What it does is it allows you to have incidental property coverages increase for certain types of loss. There's more than what I'm giving, but one in particular is credit card forgery and counterfeit money. You could actually file a claim if that happened.
On your homeowner policy, if somebody gets a hold of your identity, charges up $30,000, runs your card to its limit, your homeowner policy could cover that?
Well, I mean, you have to have the limit specifically listed, and you have to have that endorsement, but I believe there would be some level of coverage. Now, the reason why I started with that one and say that one's a long-standing is look what credit card companies have done, including debit cards with the banks. Right. They cover it themselves now.
Right.
If somebody compromises that. So that may not be as valuable now as it was at one time.
But it's interesting just to know that that's an add-on.
Yeah, it's available.
To a homeowner's policy.
Correct. It's mind-boggling. And then here's another one. This one's an automatic inclusion on all homeowner, mini farm, and farm policies with cooperative insurance. It's called Identity Fraud Expense Coverage. And what it does, it says, in return for your payment of the required premium, which is included, that's just required to be in there, we provide the coverage described in this endorsement to the terms. So here's what happens. With respect to identity fraud expense coverage, the following definitions are added. Expense means the necessary and reasonable costs for obtaining, reproducing, or notarizing affidavits or other pertinent documents required by law enforcement agencies, financial institutions, credit grantors, and credit agencies. So it's not a huge amount of coverage, but there is some assistance there if you have to start the process of getting your credit or your compromised identity back.
That is so amazing.
It's pretty limited coverage, and most companies do have that to some degree. Now, the next one, and this is very specific to cooperative, this one's called the Credit Monitoring Service Agreement. We call it the CO 911. And what this does, don't laugh at me. I didn't make up the name. I just call it what they tell me to call it.
This is the CO 911. What do you got on that CO 911? No, but they had a 598D1.
Yes, 10-4, automatic, yes. So what this is an endorsement that gives you a year of access based on the inception and expiration dates of your policy for a third-party credit monitoring service to monitor your credit and notify you of any changes. Now, any changes could be you go and bought a car over the weekend. You would get an email saying, oh, Ford Motor Company or GMC
somebody
or Ally looked at your credit.
Right.
So that's great. And but
it lets you know that somebody has your stuff and they're running and attempting to do business under your name.
Correct. And this is, if you buy this, it's for you and your significant other on the policy. So two people for the price of one. I believe it's like $25 a year.
Wow. And they'll pay for the service for a year?
Yeah.
Because that can be...
Well, try to buy it through a credit card, and it's probably, what, $10, $15 a month?
Right.
You know? So the CO911, as we like to call it, is actually a fairly cool endorsement. Now, saying that, I don't actually have it on my policy because I had, before this came out, I had already gone to another company.
I wonder how many really interesting, obscure, weird add-ons there are.
More than we can shake a stick at, I'm sure. Because if I was to start breaking it down for all just the companies that we represent, which include Cooperative Insurance of Middlebury, Concord Group of Concord, New Hampshire, the Hartford, Kemper, Progressive, if I was just to dissect just their available customizations, we have conversations for at least a couple of years.
You really know a lot about insurance. You should do a radio show. No, wait.
Oh, wait a minute, I do.
We are. All right.
Believe me, I mean, I always tell people, because with my previous career, as you well know, it was similar to what you do, and I was a much more interesting man back then, and I wasn't as... I've
heard about some of those interesting mornings.
I don't want to talk about that. My younger days. But now I'm kind of the buzzkill of the group, because I'm the guy who goes, "Oh, you're doing that? That's scary."
Will my homeowner's policy cover me when I'm cliff diving?
No.
No. I'd like to find out what insurance I can get.
We can work on that, and I would certainly love to collect the commission from that.
Is there an insurance policy that has this in there? Hold my beer and watch this?
Yes.
One of my favorite lines. All right, we'll talk next week.
Have a great week.
Good Policies brought to you by the Barrett Insurance Agency, 802-748-5224, or online at thebarrettagency.com.
And on Facebook, Barrett Insurance Agency.
And we'll talk next week.
All right.